Let's jump right into it. Let's jump right into it with the Vegas Raiders hosting the Los Angeles Chargers last night. And a ton of playoff scenarios were on the line all day yesterday. It was crazy, and I loved every single second of it. And could you have asked for a better NFL game to close out the 2021 regular season? As my man Philip, we were texting throughout the game, as he told me that was a movie. You can't even come up with that stuff. Going back and forth, and then finally the Raiders build a 15-point lead with 5 minutes left, and we're thinking it's over. And Justin Herbert converts multiple, not just fourth downs, but we're talking fourth and longs, 4th and 7, 4th and 9, 4th and 10. Over and over and over. The Chargers refusing to die. Until finally, on the last play of regulation, the Chargers get a touchdown to my fantasy man, Mike Williams. The extra point is good, and all of a sudden we got overtime. It's like, this is perfect. This is perfect. And it got to a point where even Chris Collinsworth calling the game, the great broadcasters, even they're just kind of like throwing their hands up in disbelief, like, what do you even say about this? It was insane. And so, by the way, the Pittsburgh Steelers were in a very interesting position. So they just eked by the Baltimore Ravens on the road as a tough, gritty, gutsy win, 16-13 on the part of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Ben, once again, did not play particularly well, but when it mattered, Big Ben Roethlisberger showed up, made a massive clutch throw on 4th down and 8 to keep the Steelers alive. They kicked the winning field goal and won the game. And I'll discuss this later, the Colts lost to the Jaguars. Again, I will discuss that more in depth a little later in the show. But for Pittsburgh, it's okay, we're good. Long as the Raiders and the Chargers game doesn't end in a tie, we're A-okay. We're in the playoffs. And I'm sure with about 5 minutes left, they're feeling great. Matter of fact, Big Ben Roethlisberger was on FaceTime with my man Toby Mack watching the game. Toby was actually like 15 seconds ahead of Ben, so really he broke the news of every single thing that was happening during the game. And it goes in overtime. And we're thinking, oh my goodness, they may actually play for a tie. Raiders go down, kick the field goal, up 3, 32-29. What do the Chargers do? They drive down, again, convert multiple 4th downs in a row. It was insane. I've never seen a team convert that many 4th downs consecutively, ever. It felt like 6 or 7 in a row. I mean, Justin Herbert last night, man, he left it out there. Chargers lost, but he left it out there. That was sensational, what he pulled off. Last night, I'll go over Herbert's stat line real quick, and then I'll continue with my point. Man threw for 383 yards, 3 touchdowns, had a QBR of 63. I'm surprised his passer rating was only 80. That's maybe because he threw 64 passes, and his completion percentage wasn't great. But he carried the Chargers last night. Like, that's one of those situations where a stat line is not necessarily indicative of how important and how crucial you were for your football team. And so the Chargers, they end up getting a field goal to tie it. And at this stage in the game, the Chargers kick that field goal. There's 4.5 minutes left. Exactly. 4 minutes, 30 seconds. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, the Raiders may actually play for a tie now. They may actually play for a tie. And Derek Carr on a 3rd down, right before the 2-minute warning in overtime, hits a big throw to Zay Jones to convert, and he hit the 2-minute warning. And I actually tweeted this out during the game. I said, look, is it out of the realm of possibility that the Raiders would drive it down, run the clock down, and kick a winning field goal? If you miss it, who cares? You're still in the playoffs. If you make it, you're in the playoffs, and you eliminate your most hated rival. And after the first 2 plays, I'm thinking, oh my goodness, the Steelers are going to be out of the playoffs via a tie. Like, how bizarre would that be? I mean, I know even Al Michaels during the game said, you can't even explain this. I mean, the Steelers run it twice with Josh Jacobs, and the clock is winding down, and all of a sudden, timeout by the Chargers, by Brandon Staley. I'm thinking, what is that for? Brandon, if you tie, you're still in the playoffs, right? You don't have to win the game. A tie gets you both in. And as Rich Bisaccia, the interim coach, matter of fact, I believe the first interim head coach to coach an NFL playoff game, at least he will be next weekend, in 60 years. And Derek Carr, and I'll get into Derek Carr a little later in the show, the two of them basically, said after the game, yeah, we were playing for a tie. We didn't want to risk anything. If we turn the ball over, say they get like a pick six or something, we weren't going to. Timeout Chargers. And as Brandon Staley said after the game, we were trying to get our run personnel out on the field, which made no sense to me. None. And so what happens is, I guess that run personnel really worked because he got a 10-yard gain on 3rd and 4, which got the Raiders into field goal range. And they bled the clock down, and Daniel Carlson kicked the game-winning field goal, winning the game 35-32 in one of the craziest games I've ever witnessed. Like, you think you've seen some crazy games. You think you've seen it all. Nope. No, you have not. I haven't. You haven't. None of us have seen it all in the realm of possibility in the game of football and in the National Football League. Unreal. As a matter of fact, the NBC cameras caught Justin Herbert on the sideline. They read his lips. He said, "I've never wanted a tie so bad." Okay. I wonder how he's feeling towards his coach today. That's interesting. So it was wild. And Brandon Staley, look, I've defended the guy all season long. When people are like, why'd you go for him 4th down? I'm like, look, he's being aggressive. It's what he does. I mean, that's who he is as a coach. He has an identity as a head coach. Many head coaches don't. At least he does, and the players are like, okay, that's our coach. We're gonna be aggressive. That's what we do. Like when people are like, oh, why Brandon Staley go for it so many times on 4th down in that game against the Chiefs a few weeks ago? I was like, outside of the 1 4th down before the end of the half in that game, I was like, yeah, I get it. I understand him going for it. But yesterday, he went for it on 4th and 1 at his own 18. What are you doing? Then you add to the fact that you use the timeout with 37 seconds left. I'm thinking, oh my goodness, if the Raiders hand the ball off and you tackle them short of the 1st down, the game is over and you're in the playoffs. Literally. You're in the playoffs today if you don't use that timeout and you get a stop on 3rd down and 4. It's unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it before. And so on the part of the Chargers, who I picked to make the playoffs with a 10-7 record, which they would have gotten had they won last night, it's really an interesting position because you got all this talent. You've got a superstar at quarterback, and you're 9-8, and you missed the playoffs, and you finished 3rd in your division. So they're going to have to do some real soul-searching in the offseason. I don't think the roster is the problem. People blamed Anthony Lynn. Remember Anthony Lynn? He got into the playoffs in 2018. Anthony Lynn wasn't the problem then. I'll bet to get into black coaches in just a second. And he gets fired, and Brandon Staley comes in, and it's the same issues. I'm just saying. So, but on the part of the Raiders, this cements it. Derek Carr has to finish top 3 in the MVP voting. No questions asked. I've said that for about 2 weeks now. Derek Carr, if I was voting for MVP, I'd go Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Derek Carr. Because if we are talking most valuable player, he's in the top 3. Because the pile of you-know-what that the Raiders have had to go through this season. And who is the media turned to for answers? Derek Carr. Why? He's the franchise quarterback. When John Gruden's emails gets exposed, revealing the kind of person that he is, and he resigns, who they go to for answers? Derek Carr. And he couldn't have handled it better. Then you have the tragedy of Henry Ruggs. And what does Derek Carr say? I'm going to love him. I hate what happened. He said, but if nobody's going to be there for Henry Ruggs, then I'll be. Leader. Then you got Damon Arnett acting like an idiot on social media. He gets cut. And so now Derek Carr's going to deal with that. And then last week, going into the Raiders' biggest game in years A defensive back gets arrested for DUI. And the Las Vegas Raiders are in the playoffs as the 5 seed. And they won double-digit games. Think about that. And finished the season on a 4-game winning streak. They lost by 39 points at Kansas City. 39 points. And we're sitting at 6-7 and looked dead in the water. And Derek Carr, fourth quarter comeback after fourth quarter comeback after fourth quarter comeback against the Browns. Played a tight one against Denver, fourth quarter comeback against the Colts, and overtime comeback against the Chargers. What Derek Carr did this season, to me, has not gotten enough attention. Has his numbers been through the roof? Nope. You look at Derek Carr's stats over the course of his career, season by season, this is kind of a typical Derek Carr season. Like, his numbers are right about the same if you look at them. But value, keeping an organization intact. Interim head coach, and again, nothing against Rich Bisaccia. Rich Bisaccia is a great special teams coach. He's never been a head coach in his life until this year. And all that. And the Raiders are in the playoffs. And it is first and foremost, without a shadow of a doubt, because of number 4, Derek Carr. Mad respect to him. He would be third in my MVP voting if I had a vote. I mean, that is incredible. Did he put up the numbers that Rodgers, Brady, Burrow, Dak, any of those guys did? Nope. But value, this year, he's more valuable than Burrow. He's more valuable than my man, Dak. How many quarterbacks could you have thrown in Las Vegas? Say, yeah, we're gonna hand you a coach controversy, 3 player controversies, one of them being a complete and utter tragedy. You're going to have an interim head coach, a guy who's never been a head coach in his life. Oh, and by the way, you play in one of the toughest divisions in the National Football League. Get us to the playoffs. And he did. Mad respect. Bravo. Matter of fact, I want to sit back and give him a sitting ovation. I can't stand up right now, but round of applause for Derek Carr and what he pulled off this season. That is hats off.